Hi guys, welcome back. So today we'll see one important concept like how we can read the data from the Excel. Okay, so today I will explain two ways to read the data from Excel or to buffer the data from Excel. Okay, so let's quickly start. I have already created one Excel sheet, okay, with some rows of data, okay, with two columns, employee ID 1, employee ID 2. This is one basic Excel data I have created. Okay, just a sample data. Okay, so now we will read this data. Okay, we will buffer this data, this column 1 and column 2 data into two different buffers. Okay, in two ways. Okay, so first way which I am going to use the concept of repetition. Okay, so how we can apply a repetition concept to read the data from Excel. Okay, let's start. Okay, so in my um, interview question series, I had created one test case where I was writing the data into the Excel sheet. Okay, so I will copy the steps from there. Okay, instead of again creating, just I will create one test case, read data from Excel. Okay, using repetition. Okay, I will paste the steps. Okay, okay, control C and control V. Okay, let me delete this. Okay, my file is available in this path, define range. Okay, so those who are not aware of this Excel modules, okay, so I will create a separate video on the all Excel operations, like how we create the Excel. Okay, after creating, how we enter the data into the Excel, then how we read the data from Excel, and other operations, how we update the data into Excel, or how we do the Excel comparison. Okay, there will be a separate video on that, but this video is particularly to read the data in two ways. Okay, the first way is repetition. Okay, so first step, what I am doing, I am opening a Excel sheet which is already exist in my D drive. Okay, so second step is like I am defining the range. Okay, so it will ask few parameters like workbook name, which we have defined in above steps, and worksheet name. The worksheet name is nothing but the sheet name, which is sheet 1. Okay, and range, so you can define any variable here. I have defined R1, and data range I have given A1 to Z100. So whatever data inside A1 to Z100, it will cover that. Okay, it will include in that. So I have just given a range, and range is nothing but, you can see, if I click here, it is showing C1. If I click here, it is showing K5. If I click here, it is showing Q7. That is called cell range. Okay, and next step I have, um, we have a T-box Excel range manipulation. Okay, so now I will delete this. Okay, we'll delete this, and what is our first task? We want to read the data from Excel. Okay, so we have opened the Excel, we have defined the range. Okay, now we have to get the count, like how many records we have in this particular Excel file. Okay, so most of you might be knowing like how we get the row count or record count from Excel. Okay, we'll buffer. Okay, and close the file. Okay, let me quickly run this. First, before that, just see I have 17 records, sorry, 16 records. Okay, including header, it's 17. Okay, let me close this and run this. So test case is showing as failed. So we have to see why it has got failed. Let's expand. It has failed in T-box Excel range. Property row count was not found. Okay, property row count was not found because row count, the C should be capital. Okay, let's quickly run this again. So test case is passed. Okay, so workbook has opened here. Range is updated successfully. Buffer with RC has been set to value 100. Okay, but wait, when you will see the Excel sheet, okay, we have only 17 records or 17 rows here, but when we are buffering the row count, it is giving us 100. Okay, I know the reason why it's giving 100, because it's taking the count from the range. Okay, I have given 1 to Z100. See, if I give Z90, okay, if I give Z90, now what it will do, it will give us record count as 90. So whatever range we are defining, it is just taking that range and giving us the count. Just see here, the RC has been set to value 90. Okay, so this was earlier version we were using this approach, but now this approach will not work. Okay, this row count directly, it will not work. So to get the correct row count, we have to use some another approach. Okay, so we'll tell you what we have to do. Let me first delete this. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to just select in the row last content row. Okay, and here we have to give property called row number and give the same variable and buffer. Okay, instead of row count, in the row I am giving till last content row, just give me the row number. Okay, I will run this. Okay, now let's check. See, buffer with r buffer with name RC has been set to value 16 because we have total 16 records in our table excluding headers. Okay, if you count from here, it is showing count as 16, which is correct count. Okay, so just remember this, because sometimes in interview um, they may ask like how you take the count from Excel. So most of the people will tell we will take through row count, but that will not work. Okay, so you have to take a row total records in the same way which I have shown just now. Okay, so let's move forward. Now we have the total number of records in Excel. Okay, so we have to read buffer the data. Okay, one by one. So what we will do, as I told, we will use a repetition concept. I will just give a folder name as repeat. can give any name. Okay, and in the repeat I will pass like how many times I should iterate. So I already have count, so I will pass the count buffer of RC which I am buffering from here. Okay, and let me copy the same step because with the help of this module only we will buffer. Okay, so let me delete this. Okay, now our data, okay, in the Excel, if you see carefully, our our data will start from second row, not from the first row, second row. Okay, so here we have to start reading or buffering the values from second row. So here, like if I give second means it will start from second, but we cannot hard code the value because we want to read all, we want to iterate through all the rows. Okay, we have 16 rows, so I want to iterate to all 16 rows. If I hard code 2 means every time it will take second row, it will not go to third row. Okay, so instead of that what I will do, I will use repetition. So from where I am taking repetition, this repetition is coming from this repetition. Okay, this repetition is nothing but a 16. Total count is 16. So here it will start from 1. Okay, but as I told, our record starts from second row. So what we have to do, we have to do repetition plus 1. Okay, and most of you will be knowing how we will do a plus operation in Tosca. We can make use of math operation, math operator, or math function. Okay, so I will just use math. Okay, this is the syntax of math, and I will pass here repetition plus 1. So what this particular statement will do, when the execution will start and when the execution comes to this step, it will read as math of repetition plus 1. So repetition first iteration, repetition value will be 1 plus 1, that means it's 2, has 2. So our record will start from 2. Okay, and I want to read like cell 1 and cell 2. Okay, I want to buffer, I don't want to verify. Employee ID 1 and employee ID 2. Okay, so I am buffering employee ID 1, employee ID 2 from each row. Okay, then at last we will close the Excel. Just let me first close this and then run the test case. Okay, so our expectation is it should iterate over each rows and it should buffer those both column or cell values. Okay, so my test case is showing as passed. Okay, let's check the result. So check the count here, it is showing 16. Okay, so our repetition will run for 16 iteration, and in each iteration it will buffer the value. Just see here, this is second iteration, like that it will go till 16th iteration and it will buffer. Let's cross verify whether it has buffered perfectly or not. See, the last 16th record is ending with 471 and 6804. Okay, see, 471 6804. So our script is working perfectly fine. Okay, so through repetition concept we achieved what we wanted. We wanted to read the data or buffer the data from Excel, and we have done it. Okay, so this is one way, and there is one another way. Suppose scenario, now we know the count. Okay, we have already taken the count through that row number property. Okay, and we did iteration using the repetition concept. Okay, so that makes easy for us to buffer the data. So the second scenario is like, I I don't know how many records are there. Okay, I don't have the count with me, but I want to do the same task, like I want to read the data. So how we can read the data if we are not sure about the count? Okay, we will see that scenario as well. Okay, let me just copy and paste, read the data from Excel without knowing the record count. Okay, let me delete this repetition folder from here. Okay, and I don't want to get the row count. As I told, we are not aware of the record count. Okay, okay, so how we can achieve this? Okay, so one logic what I can think of is like, we will start reading the data from second row. Okay, before reading the second row, what we will do, we will check whether it is empty or not. If data is empty, means that means there is no record. Okay, and if it's not empty, means we will buffer the values, buffer the cell values. Okay, so for that we can make use of a while statement. Okay, so what we will check here in condition, let me cut this and paste here. Okay, let me keep while after range. Okay, and before this, let me take one set buffer. Okay, why I'm taking set buffer, you will get to know now. Okay, I am taking one buffer start row. Okay, just giving 2. So start row 2 means our data will start from second row. Okay, so I have defined one buffer and assigned a value as 2. Okay, now where I will use this buffer, just see carefully. Okay, so here I will use that buffer. Okay, because my data will start from second row. Okay, since we are not using repetition concept and all, so I have defined here our starting row. Okay, first row is header and second row is our data, starting of the data. Okay, so I have given hash of 2. Hash buffer of start row means hash of 2. Okay, hash of 2 is not equals to null. Okay, not equals is enough, and verify. If it is not equals to null, then in loop I want to read the data. Okay, I will copy and paste the same step and I will modify there. Okay, I I don't want to verify anything here. Okay, it will be select. Okay, let me remove this, select, and cell value I want hash 1. Okay, and hash 2 I want to buffer. Okay, I want here same variable, I will give employee ID 1, copy and paste, employee ID 2. Okay, so what we are doing here, we are just checking if cell is not empty, just read the data. Okay, after reading the data, suppose if it has read the data, so in the next iteration it has to increase the start row, right? Otherwise it will go and read the second row. Okay, it will go in loop, and to iterate to the next record or to move to the next record, it has to increase the start row. So what we will do here in the loop, after reading the data, we will, let me give some proper name, increase the start row counter. Okay, counter. So how we can increase this? Again, we will use math operator. Okay, inside that we will pass buffer of start row. Okay, and plus 1. So what this loop will do, first here it will set the value start row as 2. It will come here, it will check hash of 2 whether it's empty or not. Based on the condition, it will go, it will read the data, then it will make math buffer of start row plus 1 means 2 plus 1 3. Again it will go here, it will check hash of 3 is not equals to null. Based on the condition, again it will go to the loop, it will read the data, and again it will increase the counter. Okay, so it will read the data until it finds a empty row. Okay, just see here. Okay, let me just run this. Before that, we need to close Excel sheet and let's give a run. The test case is showing as passed. Okay, let's see whether it has buffered the data perfectly or not. Okay, just see verification was successful. It's not equals to null. It has read the data. It has read all the data. So it has the repetition went for 17th, and in the 17th iteration it has find the data is empty. Okay, there is no data after 16th record, so the loop has over. Okay, a loop has terminated and we have the data buffered. Okay, for our all the records. Okay, the same thing we did through repetition. Okay, and when we know the count, and this is another approach when we don't know the count. Okay, we um, have used the while loop. Okay, why I told this to approach, because this was asked in one of the company interview. Okay, like if we don't know the count, I don't want to get the count, but I want to read the data. So how we can approach? That's why I thought to tell you guys this approach. Okay, now we have so many other operations which we can perform with Excel. Okay, so soon we'll create a video on that, like from scratch, who are not aware of the Excel modules, like how we create the Excel file, read the file, update the file, or compare the file. Okay, so we'll create a video and upload. Okay, so keep visiting the channel, and if you like the video, please subscribe and share with your friends. Okay, okay guys, that's it for today's session. Thank you. Bye bye.